What's going on, y'all? This is Dame, Main Thing Media. Just doing a little follow up on tonight's game, Colorado versus UCLA. A loss, we know. I would say disappointing loss, but not really a disappointing loss. I mean, I kind of low key expected that. There's a couple things I just kind of want to get out and say about the game. There were deficiencies definitely. Offensive line, terrible. To replay, I mean, just, it make you want to just dump them all same day today, the performance of the offensive line was so poor. And I want to give Shador props for his composure. To be sacked that many times, to be put under pressure that many times. And of course, we know it just didn't start tonight. But tonight, it was just so apparent, And I understand UCLA has a decent defense. Their Russian defense is top tier. I think they're number 3 in FBS with their pressure. And Colorado's defense is 133rd. And there's only 133 teams in FBS football, which is ridiculous, because you really put it into perspective. So how can y'all be worse than 132 other teams? I mean, it's just it's unescapable, And just for that, I'm here, and I know that people may see this video that participate on the team. Trash, like Bubba Dub says, trash. I mean, it's just absolute trash. And the composure that Shador has after being sacked and hit time after time after time after time. I mean, we understand that there are offensive lines that are not as strong as others. But, man, it looked like they're walking by him. I mean, 2 seconds to throw? I mean, God. But, I mean, it's ridiculous. 2 seconds? And then if you notice, that's why there weren't many deep balls. At the start of the game, I know UCLA, that's part of their plan to eventually put pressure, but they didn't know, they had no idea to know that pressure would be this effective, that the Colorado offensive line would be that deficient, that pressure would completely scramble and completely tear up the offensive game plan. Because at that point, anything that the offensive coordinator called, it had to be under, if it's a run play, your run game is not established, so that's not going to really go anywhere. And then you're underthrowing these little quick and outs. You're barely getting a ball to your receivers at maybe the line of scrimmage. Every now and then you get 4 or 5 yards. That's not going to keep the chains moving. So, I mean, it was an efficient game plan for UCLA. I mean, it struggled them after they got those first 2 or 3 field goals. Colorado was pretty much ineffective on offense. The defense, however, surprised us tonight. Defense, they weren't perfect. Now, they still have some deficiencies as well. However, they gave effort. I saw effort. I saw instinct. I saw, just they had a want to play. You know what I'm saying? You saw somebody really trying to actually go out and perform their jobs tonight. So I do give them props for that. Of course, there are some deficiencies there as well. However, I mean, we expect some of that. I expected a much worse performance from the defense, So I was pleasantly surprised by that. Travis Hunter, that guy's clearly Neo in the Matrix, because I mean, those interceptions, man. Those are those type of plays are usually reserved for professional players, and it's clearly that he'll be a player who will play on Sundays in the future. We just need him probably another year or so. That's about it, right? Other players on the team that may have made an impact. Jordan Dominic, defensive play. His defensive play was excellent. He may not have had the support that he needed, but he played well for what he had. Played his position. did his job and did what he was supposed to do. Shiloh, when they that the play that cost Shiloh the game, the what do they call it, targeting? They call it a targeting play, but was it really a targeting play? I mean, if you look at the play, technically, anytime your helmet hits another player's helmet, is considered targeting, and targeting is a play. If you get it once, they throw you out the game. Shiloh led the tackle with his shoulder, and he led the tackle with his shoulder. However, if you looked, the defender or the offensive player was so much taller than him that when he led with his shoulder, his head hit the bottom side of his face mask. You know what I'm saying? And that will cause his head to jerk back. And so but any helmet-to-helmet contact is considered targeting. However, as a referee, that was a judgment call, and I mean, you can clearly see what the intention was. It's just like, what Colorado suffers from. You're so much smaller than these other teams. These other teams have way bigger players, and that's something that I think. I would hope that Coach Prime will adjust when he goes into when he goes into that time this year in December when it's time to move all these people. When the portal opens back up and you're looking in bringing all these recruits in, this is the time. Now, you brought in 86 new people last year. I'm thinking you roughly need to do about 30 or 40 this year. And the reason I say so many is because your entire offensive line needs to go. I don't see one player there that's probably worth keeping, especially a first string. I don't see a first string player in sight. Maybe a second string. So, at that point, to be effective, you need depth. So I can't bring in 5 or 6 offensive players. I got to bring in 12 or 15 offensive players, And the reason I say so many is because you're going to need that for depth. And that's not necessarily those are just offensive line. You need a defensive line as well. So that might be another 12 to 15 players, So just there, you got 30, and I don't know if I mentioned, but they're about to lose, I think, 11 to 12 that are graduating. Juju Mitchell, Xavier Weaver. I don't know if Dominique is graduating, but a couple of them, Shane Cokes, a couple of them, those guys are they're all graduating. So I think it's about 10 or 11, maybe 12. That are graduating. So those are 12 vacancies, period, that you need to refill, So we've already said, 15, 20 for the offense, 15, 20 for the defense, plus another 12, you're 40 players, So you'll be back at this whole 40-player turnaround. Skill position players, I think you have skill position players, but I would look for a much bigger roster this year. And I'm saying, when I say bigger, and I ain't talking about count, I'm talking about size. You need 6. Everybody got to be 6 something or better. 6 foot. 6'1", 6'2" should be a minimum. 6'1", 6'2", 250, 225, 250. And I'm talking about linemen. Linemen need to be heavy. Linemen need to be closer to 300 on it, honestly. That's just what it is, because that's what you're going up against. 6'4", 6'5", 6'6" linemen. Everybody needs to be closer to the 250, 275, 300 mark. Far as skill position players, like my man tonight, what's his name? Caleb Mathis. Caleb Mathis might be a great receiver. He might catch the ball well, and he might even have a little speed to him. But he's just way too small, man. Caleb Mathis looks like a small child out there on that field. And it's not that he can't do the thing. It's just that I just don't think, going into the type of competition, the level of competition that Deion wants to approach, Caleb Mathis is just too small, Honestly, Dylan Edwards is too. Dylan Edwards is too small. He's fast, he's quick, he's a great quick running back. However, the thing about it is they run plays, the way their offense is set up, they run plays where they need the running back as a blocker. And the running back as a blocker, Dylan Edwards is what, 5'2", 5'3"? What is the size of a 7th grader? He's like 150, 160 pounds, something like that. the average defensive edge, the edge rushers that they're bringing in, like those twins tonight. Come on, man. Those dudes are like, what, 6'4", 6'3", 220, 230. You know, they'll crush him. You know, I mean, he's not even, it's like he's not even there. So, I mean, the smaller defenders, you know, and I know Coach has a lot of, Coach Prime has a lot of allegiance to this guy because he's used this guy. He's worked with him from back in the day. He coached him as a child in high school or somewhere else, you know what I'm saying? But I just don't know if that's your primary. That's your primary running back. I don't know if you can use him as your primary because you're going to need some running backs with some size. You need like Carson Steele was for their side. Carson Steele, yeah, he had 2 fumbles tonight, 2 really forced fumbles. But Carson Steele's a great back. You know what I'm saying? He'd be a great addition. Somebody at that type of, that stature, that size, that can run through the middle. I mean, he'd be a great addition to Colorado. And so Colorado needs to look for those type of players going forward, players that fit that type of that physicality, because you want to be physical with these teams. Because next year you'll be in the Big 12, and a lot of the teams that you're playing against now have moved to the Big 12. Both Arizonas are there. What did they add? They had 5 teams or 6 teams to the Big 12, and you know 12 already had. Now, of course, they lost Texas and Oklahoma, but I mean, Big 12 still is it's a nice conference. You're gonna have to play against a lot of. You're gonna have to see TCU and all of them again. And it's a couple different ones. You got a lot of teams to see out there. I think it'll be very, very competitive. So this is the time. If you need to beef your squad up, you need to be in the thing to be competitive with these people. This is the time to kind of beef everything up. I'm thinking the portal and all that stuff opens right around December, right around all the time the bowl games are happening. So then we'll be looking at these things that we're thinking of as we watch these games, these last, I think 3 or 4 games. The games are good, but I think these are kind of these last 3 games. You may not, one. I might see 1 win left. Since it's UCLA, maybe Washington State, Oregon State. I don't know so much. Maybe Washington State. I don't know if I see 2 wins, honestly. And I mean, that's just being real. Utah just gave Oregon a very poor performance today, but I don't think that's indicative of Utah. So, you know, I mean, they're not where they should be. Oregon drug them. Oregon beat them just like Oregon beat Colorado as well. But you got Utah, you got Washington State, you got Arizona, maybe not, and you got Oregon State. So your last 4 games, you may have 1 win in there. I'm hoping Colorado will edge out a win. 2 would be lovely because everybody wants to be bowl eligible. But you know, bowl eligibility, we'll get to it, cross that bridge when we get there. At this point, I just don't know if we're gonna make that. I just don't know if it's gonna happen. At least not this season. You know. So, you know, maybe next season they can look back and we'll go back over something like that. But I don't know about this season here. This is just going to be a rough season to try to get everything together. Like I say, players of the game, Travis Hunter, defensive player, Jordan Dominique, super play. Shador, I'm going to still give him offensive player of the game because of his composure and the way Coach Prime could see that guy's hurt. He could see it. And, you know, not only is that your quarterback, that's your son. And you see he is being punished, just repeatedly punished. So I think, you know, in the offseason, there are going to be some big changes. We want to watch these last 4 games, see what happens. You know, this is just, you know, tonight is just my take on what just happened tonight. And, you know, it's just a lot to decompress. Didn't really expect a victory per se. If we would have, I wouldn't have been surprised, but I kind of did want it to be a little closer than it was. I give Chip Kelly, UCLA head coach Chip Kelly, props, because if you noticed, Colorado started moving the ball in the last few minutes of the game, and that was by design. Chip Kelly actually had his defense back off. because the blitz, so it threw Colorado's off so much. That pressure threw Colorado off so much that they couldn't get off, and so they backed him off, and he kind of let him score. Because I mean, I'm clearly as a coach and as a a professional, like, hey, it's not enough time for them to win anything. They can't score enough to win. And at this point, I don't want to get the guy hurt. I don't want to say my team hurt. We already got him beat. It just wasn't enough time for them to win at this point. You're up way too far. So, I want to give him props for that. You just letting off the gas, like, hey guys, let's just gonna play the end of this game out. Pretty much we got it. Anyway, that's my thoughts for the night. And I will see you next week. All right, man. Y'all have a good one, man. See you. Thanks for tuning in to Main Thing Media. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, make sure to hit that notification bell so you never miss another update. Until then, enjoy the game, and I'll catch you in the next video.